peace reflection. We're gonna have a good one today. So, just gonna get right into it. I don't care how many followers we have. Sorry for the hiatus the last couple days. Been doing a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking. A lot has been changing in my life since last time I saw you guys. I had to get some things in perspective. But today, we're going to talk about not everything needs a response. Not everything needs to be commented on. So, we live in a day and age where everyone has a computer at their hands. Everyone has some form of connection to a larger group. So I'll say this again. Not everything needs a response, and not everything needs a comment. Sometimes in life, you're gonna see things, and people are gonna say things. And a lot of times, things that people say may not be nice. And the things that you see may not be good things. However, not everything needs a response, and not everything needs a comment, right? I have to understand, and we have to understand, that going through life, there are obstacles. These are adversities. These are things that pop up in front of us. Things that incite emotion maybe one way or the other. Now, what you do with that when you see it, it's on you. That's why you are the controller of your reality. We talk about you're the god of your reality in a sense. Now, when I say you're a god in your reality, I don't mean it in this large scheme. I mean it just simply in your mind. You're the one who's in control. So, not everything needs a comment, and not everything needs a response. We have to understand that what I tap into, what I choose to talk on, what I choose to move towards, is all going to end up being a reflection of what's inside of me. Now, when I scroll up and down my timeline, when I go on social media, when I watch TV, there's always 1,000,001 different views, different opinions, different things that are coming at me constantly. Now, with that being said, you don't have to allow everything to resonate, right? We have to start understanding as a general population that there's sometimes when you speak on things, and then there's sometimes when you let things go, right? We're at a point where we're very combative in society. We love we want to fight things. We're in a fight mode all the time. But we don't always check and are mindful of what those things are, and what the rationality of it is, and what are the next levels to some of the things that we do. There's no reason for things to sometimes even get a response, right? There's sometimes that does more for the situation. Especially when we're talking about deep-seated emotional things. There are people who go through things on one side and on the other side, right? Sometimes it's okay to just keep your comments to yourself, and to understand that the more we move in positivity, the more we move towards oneness, a lot of the times we can break apart some of these argument fallacies. We can break apart some of these bad feelings. So if I go through my timeline and I see fuck you and I see I love you, it's on me to choose which one of these that I want to respond to. Within something like that, that's gonna judge who I am by which one of these things I respond to, right? It doesn't make sense for me to go and speak on the thing that's already negative. So now I'm turning a negative situation even more negative. This is where we have to understand we are gods of our reality. We are the controller. We're the conscientious observer. So what I like to do, if I see negativity, I like to go in there and say positive. Someone says fuck you, right on it, I love you. Right on it, I love myself. tell them that, right? Tell them something like that. When someone's coming so hard at something, bring the positivity. Be that person, right? Be the person who switches the vibration of the thing that you see. That's going to help you out in life. Now, if I always see things that are negative, or I see things that are negative and I always respond negatively or feed into the negativity and give that the light of day with adversity, then I'm just making this bigger. I'm making the ripple effect of the negativity larger. However, you are able to transmute emotion, right? So if I see someone and they're upset, but I come at them with a big smile and, hi, how are you? They're gonna smile. So I transmuted their emotion. I used emotional alchemy. I was able to flip them from upset to happy, right? By just my energy, my vibration towards them, right? So we have to start to understand, especially in the social media era, in the media era, that we have a lot more control over the negative and the positive. We have a lot more control over perception-based topics. It's on us as someone who's a conscientious observer, someone who knows the deal, to when you see certain things, to either disregard it or look to combat it with the opposite. Look to combat it with positivity. Come at it with the opposite side of the spectrum. Right? If you see someone hating on, if you're homosexual, right? You see someone on Facebook hating on homosexuals. Don't go on there and fight them. Don't argue with them. Go on there and show them love. How much would that flip their emotion? How much would that transmute their feelings? By you going in there and instead of feeding in to the fire that's already there, you go and look to transmute. You take control of the situation. Because I can know, yo, I am conscious of what's going on here. I see this. Boom, I flip it. Like, for example, with me, like, a lot of people think I was Middle Eastern, people are calling me Muslim, blah, blah. There was a time where I was actually practicing with Muslims as well. However, I wanted to use that as a way for me to be able to transmute in people. Because, like, I had people around me who served in the armed forces, did stuff like this. Now, like, for them, they've only seen a negative side of a whole entire culture. But I was involved with the positive side of this culture. I was able to see a different side of these people. Now, for me, that allowed me the opportunity to help transmute some people's emotions towards this faith set, this group of people. Because, you know, not all people are bad, just like not all Christians are good. Like, same notion here. But we just have to be conscious. So I had to be conscious in order to not fall into certain traps that were set in front of me. Now, with emotion, we're talking about a bigger picture here as well, and just a general understanding that if I have a platform, right, any platform, all these social media platforms, media platforms, these are here to empower, right? The news was technically created to empower you, right, to give you information. However, we've allowed these things to stop empowering us. These things don't empower us anymore. They're detriments to us. A lot of times there's so much subjectivity, there's so much commercialism that these things aren't really empowering us anymore, right? But then who are we in the generation of people of the fake news generation and all things like that? Who are we to then, on top of all these problems we see in the media, then go around and helping to spread this information that is not empowering the population, right? Because isn't that what this is all about? Wasn't social media made to empower people, to give people voices, right? To give people a place to voice an opinion, to do things of this nature? And with that being said, we have to be knowledgeable and understanding of what our opinions are, right? Any opinion that's exclusatory, any opinion that separates is not a viable opinion anymore, right? It's not viable. We're getting too intelligent and advanced as a culture, race, people to continue to generate and push out these old notions of separation, these notions that leave us all blind. We can't be blind anymore. We have to start to wake up to these things. We have to start to be knowledgeable, right? I take a lot of fret for my generation because we should be pushing moves a little bit more, but we're very separational and confrontational in ourselves because we had this fake thug rap that was implicated and put in to kind of separate us, right? I need to be able to be conscious and a conscientious observer to be able to transmute emotion, right? I need to be able to see when people are not acting properly on social media. I have to be able to notice those things, be able to notice some of these negative emotions, and instead of fighting negative with negative or negative with adversity, fight negativity with positivity, right? If you're a Muslim, you're online, you see someone bashing Muslims, hit that person up, ask them to meet you for dinner, ask them to meet you for lunch, have a conversation with them, show them why they don't need to have these opinions, right? If you're someone who believes in science, you're someone who believes in a religion, go have lunch together, talk about the differences, talk about these problems, right? If you're Trump and then you're liberal or whatever, go out and meet with these people. Go down and sit down and talk to them, right? Don't just get on here and start going crazy, because if once we start doing things like that, we start to realize that all of these people are just people. All of these people are reflections. All these people are not so different than me. And once I realize that these people are not so different than me, then we come together stronger. We start to unify. We start to understand, right? Because to be able to love means you have to understand. So in order to understand someone, you have to first get on the same level as them, right? I have to hear them, I have to listen, and then I have to comprehend. Then I can understand them. And then once I understand them, then I can love them, right? And now we can be whole. We're too fragmented. Yes, we're all fragmented pieces of God, right? We're all fragmented pieces of consciousness, all vibrating at different states around, right? Everyone is vibrating differently, everyone's doing different things. However, we can all find commonalities just as easy as we can find separation. But it's about what you look for, right? It's about what you look for. Because there's always a reason to separate yourselves from someone. There's always a reason for me to stay here and keep you over there. But if you take the time to get to know someone, you realize there are just as many reasons for you to be there and me to be there as well. And us to share a table, and us to be able to sit down and break bread. Us to be able to understand what this is about. Because a lot of it are deep-seated emotions that we may not fully understand, we may not fully be able to see. However, going and speaking with someone, going and doing these things, you are becoming closer to them. You are gaining a better understanding for where someone's perspective is, right? And isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that what unity is all about? Isn't that what being able to speak as humans, that's supposed to be something that brings us together, not separating us, right? The fact that we share language and we can do these things and we can express our feelings in a sense should bring us together more. We should be able to break these barriers. However, we use language to create barriers. We use language to create misunderstandings, right? Because we don't want to use the same exact weapon that we were given as far as our voice and to create connections between people, because that's what this is supposed to be about, right? English language is supposed to be about us being able to use it to bring ourselves together, use it to bring things together, right? Because I can always separate. There's always enough there to separate us, right? There's always enough there. So if I'm always paying my attention to the negativity that's online, if I'm always replying to negative, confrontational, emotional statuses, tweets, things like this, then I'm no better than that person, because I'm not doing anything different than they are. I'm looking to beat them at their own game. You can't do that. You'll never win. You just create more ripple effects. And that's where we need to start to realize that as a conscientious observer, as a being that's trying to ascend and move up in life and gain understanding, it's not about the way we can separate each other, it's about the way we can unify, right? It's about what you give your attention to. If I put my attention on the negative things and I never take a second and figure out why that's negative and what I could do to flip that to positive, right? If I look at someone's opinion and it looks flawed and it looks separative, right? I need to be thinking, how could I help this person understand? And how could I do this in a manner that's non-threatening, right? Because if someone goes and posts this crazy post or something like that, and I go on there and try and give them something back, I'm creating more confrontation. However, if I go into the situation and look to do something in a non-threatening way, something that's not on the public forum, maybe message them something calm, right? Invite them out for tea, invite them out for breakfast, invite them out for lunch, right? Sit down and share a meal with this person and try and understand who they are and why they think about that way. And then, once you do that, you can then allow yourself to see their perspective, broaden your horizon, then impart your perspective on them and help them to broaden theirs, right? Because that's what this world is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about us all understanding that we're not so different after all, right? No human is different than another human. All we have are different hues of our manness, or womanness, I'm sorry. There's no difference between the general, like who we are. We all can be at the same level of understanding. A person who hates Muslims can understand a person who loves Muslims just by them talking and finding the commonalities. Just by them probably meeting each other and being nice to one another, you can change someone's opinion on something, right? But sometimes not everything is something that we need to give our attention to. Not everything needs a comment, and not everything needs a reply, right? I don't need to respond to everything. I don't need to comment on everything. If it's something that if you're automatically saying something that you think is going to cause a rift and a separation and a problem, then you shouldn't say it. You shouldn't say it. Unless it's real. Unless it's going to somehow unite people. Because there are some philosophies, like watching some of Nature Boy's videos, watching Nature Boy's video on homosexuality, right? That separates some people. But it also brings a lot of people together. It brings people into understanding as well. That was something that needed to be said. However, when someone says some whole group of people is ignorant, some whole group of people is this, there's something wrong. We're not coming from a place of trying to understand. We're coming from a place of separation. And automatically it's going to end up bad. There's no such thing as duality. That's why we're all stuck up here. There's only one heart, but there's two hemispheres of the brain. The more you stay in your brain and away from your heart, you'll never know oneness. That's why you love from your heart, because it's unity. There's only one of it. That's why when you're in the hemisphere of your brain, you can create separation. I can think about the differences analytically between people. But the heart just sees one thing, because there's only one organ. It's not split. So we need to start thinking with our heart, understanding with our heart, because once we understand with our heart, we understand all this is love and all this is us. All this is love and all this is us. Everything is beautiful. Everything is amazing. Right? Are there going to be bad days? Yeah. I've been going through some tough days. I had a tough day today. Right? I had a tough day today. I lost someone from my life. Right? Someone who I thought was a key ingredient. Lose them. Right? Because I had to take another step in my life. And that's hard. Right? That's hard. Now, again, just like things that go on now, I can give two sides of this my attention. I can give my attention to the hurt, the pain, all that, or I can give my attention to the new opportunities, the new ways, the opening, my cup being completely empty now. I can look at that side. See, it's on me to choose. Just like it's always on us to choose. You always have a choice in the matter. Every single person here has a choice. You have a choice what you tune into, what you make your reality. You have a choice how you respond to negativity. You have a choice how you respond to positivity. You have a choice as what you comment on in the day-to-day, right? But the more we can come from a place of unity and conscious understanding, the more we'll be able to make good decisions, the more we'll be able to be inclusive. Because we need to be a society more based on inclusion, inclusiveness, not by separation, right? Nothing comes from these things. Hey, Shiloh, what up, bro? Swag. It's good to see you, my G. But, with that being said, that was a short shot today. I'm just getting back into the zone of things. Again, sorry for being on my hiatus the last couple of days. Had to get some things back in order. Had to get myself re-energized and fired up, and ready for this next push. Had to do a lot of reflection. A lot of prioritizing. So now it's time for me to move on and go on to the next level of life. Alright, so for people who've been hitting me up with questions and comments, things like that, thank you. I'm going to keep getting back to you about things like that. Go check out the YouTube channel. The link's in the bio. Educate yourself, right? Go learn the biology of life. Go learn stuff about food. There's plenty of good stuff on there. The YouTube channel link's in the bio. There's a million stuff. There's all different kind of stuff in there. Go in there and learn about yourself. Know thyself. That's a major key to unity, major key to raising this conscious level. Alright? So I love you all and I love myself. Remember, I love myself. And we spell that MYCELLF because I'm made up of cells. So I love myself to a cellular level. That's how much I love myself. Right? Shout out to Nature Boy for that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for stopping in.